Very average reviews.
Why did I give Tears of the Kingdom a 9? Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is a near-perfect game. When I heard Tears of the Kingdom was coming out, I thought, there's no way this game will be able to top that in terms of originality and provide a completely new experience. And I was right. But that's not necessarily a bad thing when Breath of the Wild was near perfection. What we do have here is brand new characters, brand new puzzles, and a brand new story that is hours longer and much more epic than Breath of the Wild ever was. Yeah, we still have the same base map, but to my surprise, I actually loved revisiting this Hyrule and seeing all the nuances and changes that had taken place over the years. I knew the layout, but I didn't know exactly what I was going to come across. A familiar village is overrun with pirates. Gerudo Town is now abandoned. I loved coming across somewhere that I thought I knew just to have the rug pulled from underneath me. That's also not to say there aren't new areas on the map either. As I'm sure you're aware, new are the floating islands in the sky which offer many a new puzzle. But also new is the underground map of the depths, which gives players completely new land to explore. Unfortunately, it pains me to say that this is the weakest area of the game for me. Whilst there are fun moments to be had in the depths, there's just not that much to explore here, and doing so in the dark is just not that fun. It's even less fun when the game forces you to blindly tread through the dark for several hours of the story. The story works in the same way as Breath of the Wild. You're delivered little bits at the start and at the end of the game, but if you want more, you're going to have to go out and find them for yourself. Which is fine. Whenever I got tired of what I was doing, I was always able to switch between saving the land of Hyrule, completing the map and all of the shrines, and completing the vast amount of side quests around Hyrule. But as I stated earlier, the story is much more epic this time around, and whilst Nintendo once again pisses on the Zelda timeline, the contained story in the game is phenomenal. The game's final moments had my hair standing on end like few Zelda games have before. It's great to see Zelda get the story it deserves, and mostly the great voice acting a game of this magnitude deserves, excluding just a few over-the-top characters. The music in this game is amazing, and rivals that of its predecessor, which is saying a lot. The game requires both curious and intense pieces to mirror the game's exploration and boss battles. Cheers, Nintendo. Another soundtrack I'm going to have to add to my work playlist. When I first played Breath of the Wild, I was stunned at how beautiful a Zelda game could be, and surprised by what the Switch was capable of creating. 5 years later, this art style still amazes me. I might not have stopped and gushed for as long as I did 5 years ago, but the game didn't force me to this time around either, as I didn't once experience any significant slowdown. HowLongToBeat.com says the game is roughly 60 hours only focusing on the main objectives, and roughly 235 hours to 100%. So you'll likely fall in the middle of this if you're like me and not too sure where you want to go and just want to take your time doing so. One of the best aspects of Breath of the Wild was the runes, the enemies and the physics in the world and how these would interact together to make realistic and entertaining circumstances. This time we have new runes to play around with. Ultra Hand offers the most inventiveness of these by far, allowing you to combine any object into almost anything you can think of. What I did like about Tears of the Kingdom compared to Breath of the Wild was the difficulty. I don't know if I've just gotten older, but I've genuinely struggled with some parts of this game, particularly the Gloom Hands, and the wonderful thing about this game is there are many workarounds if you really are struggling. You can go and find items to fuse more powerful weapons, purchase and upgrade more defensive armour, or cook up food items to temporarily boost you. Or you can just keep grinding in the hope you will one day get good. Breath of the Wild reinvented the well-known and well-used Zelda formula used in most prior games. It makes sense that Tears of the Kingdom would again use the same formula. What doesn't make sense is how this game could be this creative and original doing so. If you played and loved Breath of the Wild, this game is a natural progression. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, why have you listened to me ramble on for 5 minutes? Stop what you're doing and go and play it.